Yo, what's going on, man? Today is September the 30th. We got 2 games in the NFL for Monday Night Football. Then we also got 2 games on the board for tomorrow for WNBA. So we'll look ahead to both of those, look ahead to both of the NFL games and that are tonight. And then, of course, do a quick recap of yesterday. Wasn't the greatest day for me yesterday. I ended up being on the wrong side of a couple bets that I really love. But yeah, let's just jump into it. Let's jump right into it for today. Yesterday, I ended up doing a back-to-back show yesterday. Didn't end up sending out any of the looks to any of the members as far as the NFL plays. I did send out the WNBA plays. We cashed on the Liberty minus the 4. Pretty easy winner there. But that was the smaller play. I had the Liberty and the Aces to go under 163.5, and that was a bigger play, and that ended up being a loser. Pretty much was a push. 164 is what it ended at. Super frustrating there. I also talked about, and these were the plays that I gave out on the NFL show on the show yesterday. But like I said, not to the members. Andy Dalton to go over his passing yards, over his passing touchdowns. That was pretty easy. Baker Mayfield absolutely tore up the Eagles defense. He almost had 200 passing yards at the end of the first half. So the Eagles take a big step back. Saquon Barkley does not find the end zone, and Brock Bowers, even without Devontae Adams not being a part of the game, was also not really involved in the offense at all. I think he had 1 catch for 6 yards in the first half and finished with, I think, just 3 catches for like 19 yards. So that did not go as expected at all. So yeah, needing to move forward and kind of, put that behind us. Let's go through a couple of the comments real quick, and then we'll jump into the 2 games in the W, and then we'll look ahead to actually let's go the opposite way. I'm gonna change it. Let's go Monday Night Football first, and then we'll go. Yeah, let's go Monday Night Football first, and then we'll go WNBA after we talk about Monday Night Football. So let's go through a couple of the comments real quick. What up, Ball Talk? He says, catching the show live on the lunch break. Appreciate you tapping in. Extreme says, I knew the Lynx wouldn't cover. I hope you bet it. Drop a Dime says, followed the Sharps and took the Colts and Vikings to win outright, and they did. Yeah, the Vikings look really good, man. They look really good. What's up, Mark? He says, let's have a great day. Desmond says, Tyler Lockett, day today. His birthday was yesterday. He's turning up today. Like Tony Pollard to get 50 rushing yards in a Tennessee game as well. What's up, Joe? Appreciate you for tapping in. Yes, big rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo. I actually saw that just before the show started, man. Rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo. Sending prayers to his family and everybody that's impacted in the basketball community for sure. What up, Props? He says, I jumped on the Lynx money line at halftime and thought it was easy money after the third quarter. Can't believe they choked the fourth quarter away. Yeah, we're going to talk about it, man. I do think they're in a good bounce back spot. We'll talk about that game. Nars says, I told you, Cincinnati trifecta spot. Yeah, Cincinnati was good yesterday. They were really good. I like Dalton. I like that team total over for the Carolina Panthers, and they both were winners as well. So, yeah, a lot of cash in that game, Nar, for sure. But yeah, give you your credit for sure. All right, let's jump into it for today, man. We got the Tennessee Titans. They will be in Miami taking on the Dolphins. This line actually opened with the Tennessee Titans getting 6.5 points when the first line that opened was 6.5. It's been brought all the way down to 2.5 in favor of the Dolphins, and the total has moved a lot as well. This total actually opened at 46, and it's all the way down to 37. So 9 points, which, if you wanted the under, probably should have been there already. It does seem like, of course, like the right play, of course, now, knowing what we know. So first thing I looked at was weather. Shouldn't be a factor. It's like a 4% chance of rain tonight, but it should be relatively good weather. Then I looked at the injury report, and Tennessee, they do have injuries to their defensive tackle. Jeffrey Simons is listed as doubtful. L'Jarius Sneed, I'm thinking he's going to be out there, but he is listed as questionable. For people who don't know, the shutdown corner who came over from the Kansas City Chiefs in the offseason. And then Amani Hooker is also listed as questionable. So some key injuries for Tennessee, but I think most of their players are going to play. The bigger injuries, I think, in this game actually fall on the Miami side. So they're going to start Tyler Huntley, of course. Skylar Thomas got hurt. I think it was a rib injury in that game last week in Seattle. Tua, of course, is still out. You got Kendall Fuller listed as out, one of the top cornerbacks for this Miami Dolphins team, and I would say pretty good cornerback in the league as well. Miami is also down inside linebacker. Well, he's not down; he's actually doubtful. And then Raheem Mostert is still dealing with that chest injury as well. So Miami, it's the reason why this line is just continuing to come down. And you got Tennessee. I was somebody who liked Tennessee last week, and they absolutely wet the bed. And it's twofold. Will Levis has looked terrible. He continues to turn the ball over. I think he has more turnovers than any team in the league so far. And then Tennessee can't force any turnovers. Tennessee has one turnover on the full season, and that turnover came in week 1. And they didn't even force it. It was a muff punt against the Chicago Bears in a game that they ended up losing. So Tennessee is gonna have to start, generating some pressure. When I look into like the numbers of the game, I look at this Miami team. They're a bottom 10 rushing team in the league, averaging just 3.7 yards per carry and just 95 yards per game. And then I look at, Miami also just struggling to score struggle to football. They're averaging a league low 11 points per game, while Tennessee's defense, they have struggled to stop the run, but they've been really, really good against the pass. Tennessee is allowing just 139 yards per game through the air, which is the third fewest in the league. I think, bringing over Tyler Huntley, who, if people don't know, Tyler Huntley was actually, in Baltimore just a few weeks ago. They signed him off the Ravens practice squad just last week. So, you got a new quarterback coming in here trying to, put together some offense. And I think he has like 9 career starts under his belt. I'm not seeing it in this game. I just think that Tennessee, they need a win. Not that Miami doesn't need a win, but and they're trying to, right the storm. I told myself last week, I think I tweeted it too, that I wouldn't bet on Will Levis anymore. But Will Levis had a really good game on Monday Night Football against these Miami Dolphins last year. For people who went back and looked at it, I like Tennessee in this spot, man. I do think that they are the right side. Getting them +2 in a game, +2.5 in a game, it feels like they absolutely need to win. I like L'Jarius Sneed, being able to kind of slow down Tyreek Hill. And I do think Tennessee is the better defensive team right now. And with Tyler Huntley starting at quarterback, I know he's going to try to utilize his legs to extend some plays and make some plays. And, they'll probably try to get the ball out really, really quickly, something that he's done over the course of his career. Get it into Waddle's hands, get it in Tyreek Hill's hands, and let them kind of make plays. I just think that Tennessee I do kind of feel like they should be able to stifle, right? Probably a lot of man coverage, pressing up on these receivers and trying to force Huntley to beat him with his legs more so than his arms. And I think that I think that they do to tackle a little bit better. They were one of the worst tackling teams last week. I think they missed a total of like 15 tackles. So I am expecting, Huntley to struggle in this game, trying to learn a new offense. And like I said, I think Tennessee is the right side plus the 2.5 is the way that I would play this one if I'm playing anything. Also, I looked at, I didn't look at a lot of trends, and I wasn't going to touch the total just because it moved so much. But I do think it's going to be a low-scoring game, is indicative of the total, dropping 9 points. Winless road dogs in week 4, which the Tennessee Titans are, a winless road dog, 36-23 or 1 against the number. That's 61%, going back all the way back to 1990. So pretty profitable trend there. This is that Tennessee does come out with their first win of the season in this game tonight. I think that they get the job done. Let's see what you guys are thinking, if anything at all. Joe says over here for me. He thinks that both teams can score. Mark says that Raheem Mostert is out. I didn't see that he was out, so maybe okay. If he's out, that's even less, depth in the backfield. You just really gonna have to rely a lot on Achane without Raheem Mostert being there. What's up, Manny? He says, "What's good, Chris? Caught the live show. Good afternoon, Chris and chat. Appreciate you, brother, for tapping in. It is still morning." He says, Chris, bro, this is a fun spot for sure. Will Lev ass will be benched by week 7. He says a fun spot for sure. So on the opposite side. Y'all says Will Levis won't let us down. This won't happen. Kyle, you like Tennessee? Hope so. I like Tennessee plus the 2.5 in this game. Did you bet it, Kyle? Let me know. I'm interested to see what my guy Kyle think about this game. Yeah, I think it's time for Will Levis to get a win underneath his belt, man. He said, I said Titans a pass. Yeah. So yeah, we're lying here, Kyle. I think Miami's offense really struggles to score as well. Titans first half ball talk says eliminates the possibility of a Will Levis mistake, kind of like avoiding the bullpen on the first 5 bets. You think Will Levis is the bullpen? You think if he make a mistake, it's gonna be in the first half? I mean, the second half specifically. That's a good reference, Baltimore. I like that. DJ Prop says love Huntley rushing yards over 30.5 in this spot. He's not the best passer, but he keeps the offense moving down the field with his legs. Dolphins will try to control time of possession and lean on the run, and I agree with all of that. I was looking into his rushing attempts over. I think it's 7.5. The number seemed about appropriate, Props. So I stayed away from that. I also considered his passing yards to go under. I think it was 166 was the number. The only thing that scares me a little bit about that is that Miami has elite playmakers, and we know when they get the ball. This was a team that, I'm not sure. I know the first couple of weeks with Tua in, they were number 1 in yards after the catch combined. So that scares me a little bit because I know it's going to be, just doing some reading this morning. It sounds like he's just going to try to get the ball out of his hands really quickly, and I would agree with that. And then, it could be one play that, goes 80 yards and then this, sneakily goes over. So I stayed off of that. Alex says Titans are nothing. Mark says, I know it's low, but I'm on the under. I agree with that as well. I know Joe said over, though. He says this is the first defense that won't be able to pressure Levis. If he gets time, he could be slinging it. Yeah, that's what I need him to. I need him to in this game. I am going to play Tennessee. I haven't done it yet. But I'll be on Tennessee plus the 2.5 here. Tyreek, 2 touchdowns, Jordan says. Okay. LJ likes field goal kickers. Jason Saunders, over 1.5. Titans have allowed over 1.5 field goals in 20 out of their last 22 games, LJ says. So I love a trend there. Says that one goes up and over. All right, let's go. Next game, we got the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. Game will be played in Detroit tonight. This line actually opened. Let me see. I thought I had it pulled up. Maybe I didn't. 1 second. I want to see what the opening line was. I want to say it was 3. I want to double check it real quick. I don't want to give out any bad information. I thought I had it in my notes, but I didn't write it down. So give me 1 second. So this line actually opened 5.5 in favor of the Lions, and this actually come down to 4. I saw this down to 3.5. Looks like 4 is the consensus now. Total open 49 is down to 40. Looks like the consensus is 46.5. There's some 47s out there as well. So money coming in on the under, which I agree with. Money coming in on the Seahawks, which I'm not quite sure if I agree with. But let's get into it. So no weather, of course. This game will be played in the dome. Injuries. The Lions are without their starting center, and that's actually the only injury that they have on the injury report throughout both sides of the ball. The Seahawks, on the other hand, do have some injuries that are worth noting. They got 2 starting linebackers who are going to be out. A starting defensive end is also out. And then they also could potentially – they got another inside linebacker that's listed as questionable for this game. So I think that could hurt Seattle's defense. Really hurt Seattle's defense a lot. As I started looking to the game, the first thing that really stood out to me, and this always kind of stands out to me, is that the Lions are a team, in my opinion, that really generates a lot of pressure up front, and specifically in the running game. I think I look at Seattle, and they've struggled to establish the run so far consistently. They're allowing they're averaging just 3.9 yards per rush and less than 100 yards per game, which both land them in the bottom 10 as far as being able to run the football successfully. If they are going to be one-dimensional against a top 3, rush defense in this spot, I think that could spell a lot of trouble when the Lions get to pin their ears back and just really, do what they do against, against the pass. Against opposing quarterbacks, that's when they typically find a lot of success. So this was a game that I kind of wanted to stay away from the spread on. But I am thinking that it's going to play out that way. The Lions are a team that really forces a lot of turnovers, and not a lot of turnovers. A lot of they force teams into passing the ball a lot. And I almost wanted to get there with Geno Smith on his passing attempts to go over, but the number was so inflated. It's like 34.5, which is really, really high. I don't want to get there with that at all. So I went the opposite way, and I looked at Kenneth Walker III. His rushing yards, his rushing attempts aren't listed. That's what I was really looking for. But his rushing yards is 55.5. This is -120 on BetMGM, was the best number that I saw. So a couple different reasons why I like the under here. First of all, it's going to be the first game back since week 1, which I'm reading that's probably going to lead to him splitting the backfield a little bit more with Zach Charbonnet. So I love, to take an under on a guy that I don't think that's going to be splitting the field a little bit more, because he hasn't played in the last couple of weeks. But outside of that, I already mentioned, this Lions defense, and, just to put some numbers behind it. The Lions are 4th in opponent rushing yards per game, opponent rushing attempts per game. Teams only running the ball 21 times against them per contest so far. They're 2nd in opponent rushing yards per game at just 3.6 yards a play, and 3rd overall, allowing just 76.7 yards per game. Based on week 1, he did, Kenneth Walker played really, really well. He is one of the better running backs in the NFL. He finished week 1 against who did they play? The Denver Broncos. He finished with 22 touches, 103 yards on the ground. And he was 3rd in explosive run rate, 8th in missed tackles forced, and missed tackles forced per attempt, and 13 in yards after contact. I just think that the Lions are going to do a really good job. I think this number is really, really well. I think it's this low for a reason. And like I said, from a game flow perspective, I'm thinking Seattle has to pass the ball a lot here, especially with their defensive players being, them being short some defensive players. I think that lends itself to Detroit being able to move the ball a little bit more efficiently, and Jared Goff having some more success with the offense. I think it also lends itself to Geno having to beat them through the air. I'm expecting, the Lions to come out and score first, Seattle to not be able to lean heavily on their run game as they would like to. So I like Kenneth Walker under 55.5 rushing yards in this game. Like I said, the best number is a little juicy, -120, but over on BetMGM. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one, and we'll move on to the WNBA. Look ahead for tomorrow. Manny says, hit the like. Only got 13 likes right now. Sheesh. It'd be helpful if you press the like button. I definitely appreciate that. Joe says he loves the Lions here. Mark says 2 bad receivers here. DT says Lions team total. You know the vibes, Chris. Let's see what that Lions team total is right now. Lions team total is 25.5 is the best number over on ESPN Bet, 15 cent a juice. 26.5 on a couple books as well. So yeah, I mean, could they get to 27 points? Let's see. Let's look at the Lions. Let's look at Seahawks defense real quick. Seattle was at home last week, right? I think they were. So, cross-country trip for Seattle. Seattle's defense has been good, though. They're giving up 14.3 points per game. Only the 3rd in passing first downs, only giving up 15 per game. Defense has been pretty good, especially against the pass. They have a new defensive coordinator over there. I forgot what his name was, but he was projected to do pretty well. He has been doing pretty well. This is actually the number 1 defense. Seattle, number 1 defense in yards per play, giving up just 3.9. Number 1 defense in total yards per game, giving up just 238.7. I don't know if I like that as much. I think it's more of an under game in my opinion. But don't let me talk you off, DT. LJ says Derek Montgomery to score a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs to score a touchdown. Seattle allow rushing touchdowns 14 out of their last 15 games. Okay. DT says that Seattle offensive line is going to struggle to protect Geno. I could definitely see that. DJ Prop says he's going Jared Goff up and over 240 and a half passing yards and laddering them to 300. His passing yards at home are almost always a guarantee. Game is in the dome. Dome allow offensive efficiency. I do agree with that. Jared Goff is here's the thing though, and I know I got to go back and look at who Seattle has played because I know week one they got Denver, right? And Denver, like, boy, if you watch any of that Jets game yesterday, you saw how poor Bo Nix can look. So this number could be inflated with him not having some of the best games because they're only allowing 132 passing yards per game. This is actually the second best passing defense in the NFL, by yards per game from a yards per game standpoint. But Detroit does have a very explosive offense. You got weapons all over the floor. I did see that Sam Laporta was going to be playing today, so you get him back. I can see it. I don't love it though, but don't let me talk you off, right? Ball Talk says Seahawks have a perfect D-back for those high-powered receivers. Watch Kyle's recap. I think he has Krabby Patty formula with the air matchup. Okay, not bad. Bad is very good. Yes, a lot of really good receivers in this game. I agree with that, Mark. Ball Talk says Lions also seem unreliable during these big games. I don't know. Is it just me? These boys ruined my entire Thanksgiving meal last year. Mark likes Seattle plus the 4.5 for him. LJ says Seattle beat Detroit last year in Detroit, so Lions will pinch spot here. DT says, remember when Seattle played their first 3 games as well. Manny says big Lions tonight and Metcalf unders maybe. Brian says, hey Chris, you're going with Seattle here and the over. These teams put up a lot of points, I think is what he means, against each other. Detroit defensive end linebacker Geno will be just fine. Now, I'm not playing this game. I like Kenneth Walker under his rushing more than anything else. Like I said, just game flow wise, I don't think it's gonna be a game where he rushed the ball a lot. Splitting that backfield, but GLB says he likes Tyler Lockett over his receiving yards. He eats on the road. Lifelines says I think Seattle is overrated. They have had an easy schedule so far. So, man, let's see. I need to look at that real quick. I do need to look at that a little bit more. Let's see if I agree with you or not. Seattle is 3-0 straight up, 1-1-1 against the number, 2-1 to the over. They beat the Broncos, they beat the Patriots, and they beat the Dolphins. I think I gotta agree with you, Lifeline. These 3 teams not going to the playoffs this year. They didn't even smoke the Broncos. They beat them by 6. Didn't cover. They did beat the Patriots. They got a push, but only beat them by 3. That game went to overtime. And then they beat the Dolphins last week. They smoked the Dolphins, and the Dolphins were with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. So yeah, it's a much more of a difficult task. I'm interested to look. I'm not going to do it while I'm on the show. I'm interested to see how 3-0 teams do as dogs of 4 points or more. Matter of fact, I will look at it real quick. So let's just look at so road dogs, undefeated road dogs getting 4 points or more in week 4 are 3-10 straight up, 7-6 against the number, 8-5 to the under. And they have not done well recently. So going back to, this goes all the way back to 1989, but going back to 2009, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1-5 against the number, are these road dogs getting 4 points or more? So yeah, this is that they won't win, but they are 7-6 7-6 against the number. So covering about 54%. But this is a super small sample size as well. Super small sample size. So appreciate you shouting it out, Lifeline, making me look into it. Joe says, remember Seattle beat the Lions in overtime last year. Lions also before bye. Teams that lost previous matchup versus teams and before the bye are 136, 98, and 4 against the number. Okay. And 68, 36, and 2 if you're the favorite. So this says Joe likes the Lions a lot tonight. OJ says Seattle ain't played no top tier teams. I think we can all kind of agree with that. Les says Seahawks won last 6 against Detroit. Okay. LF3 says, Chris, my boy, Lynx killed my over on points in that fourth quarter. They only scored 8 points. Lena Smith was a bum. She couldn't score at all. Son are going to take that series, bro. Lena Smith, she was playing defense, though. I think she had like 3 blocks, 2 steals. Them as collective couldn't score the basketball. They couldn't score at all. That fourth quarter, I think they had 8 points, 9 points. I'm watching man, Connecticut, when they win, it's the ugliest thing you ever seen in life. I'd rather watch paint dry than to watch Connecticut play basketball because I guess Marina Mabry made 6 threes last night. Take your head off to her. Seahawks have only played rookie Bo Nix, Patriots, and an injured Dolphins team. I agree with that, Manny. So there's a lot of points to be made on both sides. Mark says he's going Lynx -4.5 in a smash spot here. Elbow says Seahawks won last 6 versus Detroit, and defense looks good versus them. Looks better than last season. I agree with the defense looking better, and I think that's one of the reasons why I like the under. You look at Detroit defense right now. Seattle's defense is giving up just 14.3 points, but we talked about the offenses that they faced. And if you look at Detroit, this defense has also looked pretty good. They're giving up 17.7 points per game, which is also the 8th fewest points per game allowed so far. So yeah, I think it's an under spot. I know y'all don't agree with that. Mitchell says Lions spot for sure. Commanders to cover next week against the Browns. I saw it was at 1. Look ahead line was at 1. As soon as the Commander game went off, boom, straight to 3 or 2.5. Then it got bet up to 3. I did see that. What up, Malik? Appreciate you for tapping in. GLB says random trend I just found. Week 4, Monday night, home favorites who coming off a win, and their opponents are coming off a win. I'll look at that real quick because I got a couple minutes. GLB, appreciate you for putting it in the chat. So he says, let me go to Killer Sports instead of Give Me the Dog real quick. Then we're gonna do it. Then we'll get into the WNBA. Some games for tomorrow. So week =4, day Monday, and favorite who previously won. They won in week 3. Their opponent also coming off a win. WNBA. Hold on, let's go to NFL. Let's see what we got. Oh, dang. Okay. 8-2 straight up, 8-2 against the number. It says that home favorites who are coming off a win facing a team that's also coming off a win typically play well in week 4s on Monday Night Football. It says Lions, 8-2 straight up, 8-2 against the number. 3-0 or 4-0 in the last 4 as well. But this trend also hasn't been active since 2021. So I don't know how I feel about that. What if we take out week 4? If you take that week 4 out, GLB, it's still pretty profitable. It's 56% against the number. So just looking at Monday night home favorites who coming off a win and their opponent also coming off a win. What about if their opponents haven't lost a game? Ooh, then it get real spicy. I like this, GLB. Appreciate you, bro. He says, so if you add GLB, I took off week =4. So I'm just looking at home favorites on Monday who are coming off a win, facing the team that's coming off a win, and their opponents are undefeated. 17-5 straight up, 15-7 against the number. 68% says that the Lions cover tonight. 15-6-1 to the under. 71.4%. I like the under. This trend is strong to the under. Yeah, I like the under. I like the under 47 a lot. Strong trend towards the Lions too, though. This is why I like doing the show, man. They're winning by an average of about 11 points per game. Are the home favorites in this spot, facing an undefeated team. I like this. Shout out to GLB in the chat, man. Appreciate you, bro. What up, G421 says, what's up, Chris? The hell happened to the Eagles, man? I don't want to talk about the Eagles, man. That's a team I really don't want to talk about. I had the Eagles in another little league that I do not anything sports. Well, it is sports betting, but not like just with some friends. Like I picked the Eagles to cover yesterday, and it was over before it started. I don't want to talk about it. Manny says, yes, WNBA been weird for the playoffs. I think under is the way to go. The unders are the way to go. All Talk says Lynx in trouble. All right, yeah. All right, let's move over. I know we talked about this game for a lot, but that's what we do the show for, man. I appreciate everybody in here that's gonna watch the show later too. But everybody in here, kind of shouting out the trends and pointing out the angles. Love it. Appreciate y'all for sure. All right, let's move over to Aces and Liberty. I think the line is 4 for the game tomorrow. The books opened it right back up to where it was at 4.5. It looks like is the number. So I put 4 on the screen. The total, which just frustrates me the most, opened right back up at that 163.5. So I talked about this already, but I had the under 163.5, which it feels like that was consensus. A lot of people like the under in that game yesterday. And it goes over by 0.5 point. And the reason why I think it went over was because the Aces just decided to not play defense. I thought that we could rely on the Aces to play a better brand of defense than they did yesterday. And I think it was 29 points in the first quarter is what the Liberty finished with. I'm pulling it up right now. But yeah, 28 points in the first quarter. New York ended up with an offensive rating of 109.2. And we had talked about, I specifically mentioned that I thought the Aces would come out and just play really, really good defense. I didn't think that they would, look that poor on the defensive end. I fell asleep before the game came on, like 2:45. I woke back up at like 3:15, and the Liberty already got 29 points. And I'm just like 28 points. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I slept through the first quarter. I am going to go back and rewatch the full game, but I watched the rest of it. The one thing that really stood out to me the most, I'll just tell you guys this, a couple things that stood out to me the most. One, Aces are in trouble. That's the first thing. And here's the reason why I feel like they're in trouble. And I don't got notes for this. This was just based off what I watched. They're not going to be able to play Kia Stokes. And I talked about this yesterday. Remember, I talked about this yesterday. If you guys watched the show, I said Kia Stokes offensively, she's such a liability that the Liberty literally were not guarding her. They were just going to double team, which is why Asia Wilson went under her points prop, which is why Chelsea Gray couldn't get any assists, because they would just literally double off for her and just go help whoever hot person was. So I'm not sure how much that's going to change. I did get a chance to go back and listen to the Aces post-game interview afterwards. And, Becky Hammond called game 2 a must-win, said that we have to win this game. And I think that they probably do. Do they? I don't know, man. The Liberty have not been a team that I've liked to trust when they've won their previous game. But remember, I said this in the breakdown. It was one of the reasons why I took the Liberty yesterday. I said that if you're the Liberty, this is a game that you have had circled, not for like a couple weeks, not for a couple months. This game been circled since last year. When they lost game 4 in New York on their home floor and watched the Aces celebrate. They watched the Aces celebrate, and they were down. Aces were down 2 starters, and I said that Liberty gonna have this one. So I say all that to say I probably should have just took the Liberty on the point, played the points, and that was it. But stayed away from the spread. I just thought that the Aces defense would look a little bit better. The game didn't really slow down to the fourth quarter when they both combined for 31 points. The Aces scored 15, Liberty scored 16. All right, I digress. Going through the box score, Asia Wilson played 38 minutes. Outside of who was it, Kelsey Plum, who played 37 minutes, they looked terrible. Like Jackie Young, she shot 37%, only hit 2 of her 7 threes. The Aces couldn't shoot the ball from the 3-point line. 7 for 25, only 28% from the 3-point line. But they gave up 16 points in transition. the Liberty were just playing so fast, and the Aces couldn't get back. Like, I mean, they were trying their best, they just couldn't get back. The Liberty defensively, probably the best team in basketball too. You could just tell when they needed to turn up, they really turned up in this spot. And I kind of think that they could do it again. I don't want to play them on the spread again, but I do think that they win the game. I'm also my strongest play as far as side and total is probably going back to the under. I do feel like even though we lost that game, even though we lost with the total going over by half a point, I think that game was destined to go under. The Aces, you would expect them to bring it defensively in this game. Real quick, if I go to moneyballer.com and just look at, if I look at the Aces, shout out to moneyballer.com. If I look at the Aces if we just look at them after the Olympic break, the Aces are 12-4 to the under for the full game in the first half. Just so happened, like I said, they played no defense yesterday, but I don't think it's a game where we go back to the over. The Liberty also, 10-5 to the under. I think it goes under. I think we see a little bit better game from the Aces, but I still don't think the Aces is going to be able to score. Here's the other thing that I think is important to mention, based on what I heard Becky Hammond say after the game. I think it's important to mention that the way the Liberty were guarding the Aces, they did not want Asia Wilson to get the ball. They did not want Asia Wilson to be the reason why they lost the game. So if you go back and look at it just real quick to put some numbers on it, Asia had 21 points. She shot 9 for 16 from the floor, 6 rebounds, but she had 5 assists. Those 5 assists came because they were doubling her a lot. The Liberty were going under on a lot of picks, which is why the Aces ended up shooting 25 threes, but they only made 7 of them. Aces aren't the greatest three-point shooting team, in my opinion. I don't think that they can make threes, but they want to get the ball to Asia and shoot in the mid-range versus shooting a bunch of three-pointers. And that's how I think about it based on the numbers that I've seen. In my mind, the Liberty are going to continue to go underneath the screens. Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, and Chelsea Gray are going to have to make shots. Chelsea Gray, 2 for 7 from the floor, 0 for 3 from the three-point line. She finished with 4 points, had 1 assist. I kind of want to go under on her assist again. I know we're expecting to bounce back. I kind of think that she's going to go under on her assist again. I don't even know what the line is. I just think that the Liberty defense is really, really good. They got a lot of length out there. Here's the other thing. Going back to the Kia Stokes point, Kia Stokes played 12 minutes. I think most of them came in the first half. I don't even know if she played in the second half at all. I know she didn't start the second half. She played 2 minutes and 35 seconds in the second half, but they ended up putting Alicia Clark in the game. And Alicia Clark is good. Alicia Clark is undersized for what they need her to do, though. She can't guard Stewie. So if Stewie continues to be, the as aggressive as she was, that just leads to a problem. I think Liberty definitely going to win this series, in my opinion. Not that it's going to be easy, but I do think they're going to win the series. Because adding Alicia Clark just doesn't do it from a size perspective. That front, the starting 5 for the New York Liberty, when you got Sabrina, Stewie, Phoebus, Jacquel Jones, and Benaj Laney Hamilton, they're all like 6'4" or taller, 6'3" or taller. So yeah, I think Alicia Clark, I don't know how tall she is, but she definitely not. I don't think she can. I don't think she's going to be as impactful. And Kia Stokes definitely not going to be as impactful. Tiffany Hayes going to have to do a little bit more than 7 points off the bench. They need her to step up as well. So let's see what you guys are thinking. I haven't bet anything. I want to go through and kind of deep dive the player props. I haven't looked at any of the lines yet, but I am thinking Chelsea Gray continues to struggle a lot. Even though I know it's typically a bounce back spot for Chelsea Gray, she's probably somebody that's going to look herself in the mirror and say, I was a -15. I need to be a little bit better in this game. I think it's going to be more of a defensive type game as well. So we'll be looking for some unders for somebody on the Aces. I just got to figure it out. I know we're not going to get Kia Stokes points numbers. We're probably not going to get Alicia Clark numbers. Probably not going to get Tiff Hayes numbers. So it's going to have to be one of the 4 starters if you like the Aces and you like the unders. Let's see. Yeah, this is a fact, Chris. He says it's hard for the Eagles to win with no wide receivers. Let me tell you how you win without wide receivers, Chris. you get stopped. Not having wide receivers has nothing to do with you giving up 21 points before halftime. The wide receivers won't gonna stop Baker Mayfield from throwing the ball to Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So you make a point, but that has nothing to do with the defense at all. Dante says Steelers and Lynx sold me. Lions game going under. I like the under, Dante. Like it a lot. Manny says Lions and unders, less cash. Mark says Lynx had a bad shooting day. That's not happening 2 games in a row. We're going to get there in a second because I agree with Mark on this one. He says he was lucky. He got a push, bought a half a point to 164. Evan says Lynx win the next game. Aces do 2, he says. Scorpio, I think, was talking about Stokes says she's dead weight. Malik says, I think the Lynx will be all right. Although I don't know what that last play was, what they threw up. That was awful. So we're going to get to that game in a second because I got some thoughts about that one as well. G421 says, looks like Libs. I had an answer for Asia. The answer was make her a passer. Like, if she's not getting the ball in the high post and she's trying to get it on the block, you're going to send a double letter every single time and make somebody else beat us. Remember I told you guys yesterday when we were talking about the game that Jackie Young has been terrible. She's averaged like 9 points per game. And she did have 13 points yesterday, but she also shot just 37% from the field and 2 for 7 from the three-point line. They're going to need her to make shots if they're going to have a chance. Scorpio says starters should be Kelsey. You think Sid should start? I think Sid's too small. I think they take advantage on the defensive end. She is a pretty good defender. She plays with a lot of energy, so I guess she could be right there. You think Meg Gustafson should start? Nah, see, this is where she's a liability on the defense. I don't think you can do that. All right, let's see. Play Meg, Edwin says. He says the same thing. She's going to help offensively. She's going to get cooked defensively, though. I don't think she can move her feet enough to guard any of those big. I think Jacquel Jones will have a field day. But they probably will bring her in because you're not getting anything from Kia Stokes out there. Kia Stokes was a -9, which I guess isn't that bad when Asia Wilson was a -17. But, just like I said, she's not contributing anything at all. She sets screens. That's about it. Manny says, I've been calling Liberty to win since the beginning of the season. No cap. Real quick, just on this comment, let's go look at the markets real quick and see what you can put that future ticket in for. Odds probably are terrible at this point, but you're not going to get the best odds. But Liberty to win the whole thing, probably like, 125, 115, something like that. Let's see what the line is for that. Jesus, -125 for the Liberty. It shifted, man. It was like +125 like 2 days ago. Connecticut Sun actually got the second best odds. If you want the Lynx, this is when you want to take them. +500 for the Lynx right now. They actually got the longest odds. Them and the Aces. +550 for the Aces. +500 for the Lynx. And these are best of 5 series, just FYI. So the first team to win 3 is not best of 3 anymore for people who are new to the W. I want to make sure I pointed that out as well. LJ says Aces can't get offensive rebounds to create second chance points. Liberty defense is solid, and that is a fact. Aces also not a great offensive rebounding team. Real quick, the Aces they finished the worst offensive rebounding team in the WNBA. They averaged just 21 point. They averaged just offensive rebound percentage was 21.3, which was the lowest in the WNBA. This is not a great offensive rebounding team. So, yeah, they're not going to get a lot of offensive rebounds out there. Mark says he live bet the Aces +12.5 and barely covered. Malik says how the Aces going to stop Stewie is the real question. If Aces shots not falling, they cook. And that's a fact because this Liberty team is so well balanced, boy. They're really good. G421 says Asia never had more than 2 assists in like the last 10 games for the Aces. It came because of the double team. I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. All right. Chelsea Gray is the X factor, Evan says. Joe says Seahawks get it done tonight. I don't think I like that as much, but I think I'm going to lean more towards the under. All Talk says Chelsea Gray, a couple games from retirement. It hurts watching her walk. she walks like Kenny Smith trying to get to the board on inside the NBA. I've been saying this for like 3 years. I agree, man. He said she's ball dominant. Jackie Young is a walking brick. OMG. Jackie Young numbers have dropped. I think she's down like 2 points per game. Her field goal percentage is down like 8 field goal percentage points since last season. Not putting all the blame on Jackie, but she's not the same Jackie Young from last year. Brian says, "What do you think about Liberty first half minus the points?" I think you get the Aces best fastball early, Brian. I do think that, remember, we just watched the Liberty beat the Atlanta Dream in the first round, right? In game 1, they smoked them. They were up, it was 30-49, I think it was. They were up by 19. Game 2, they didn't even have a lead. So this is an inconsistent Liberty team, with a full game. I do think that they win the game. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think that they are a better team this year. And I think it could come, I just think you're going to get the best punch for the Aces. If you like the Aces, I do think you take them early in the game tomorrow. All Talk says Liberty future odds were never good. Yeah, they weren't that great. Mark says he have a future on the Lynx at plus 550 and the Livs at plus 145. I like it. Jose says, what up, Chris, in the chat? Appreciate you for tapping in. Let's go over to the next game. I know I said a lot about that game. I'll have an official video out after I go through the player props a little bit later tonight for that game for tomorrow. Let's go to Sun and the Lynx. So let's see. Pull this one up real quick. I did watch most of this game while I was watching Sunday Night Football as well, trying to multitask a little bit last night. But I did get a chance to watch this game from start to finish. So biggest thing that really stood out, I think it was pretty telling. The Sun could not shoot the Lynx could not shoot the ball. She got outshot by the Sun from the 3-point line. And I've been thinking a lot about this game because you expect Minnesota. Minnesota was the best 3-point shooting team in the WNBA, but they finished the game just 5 for 20 from the 3-point line, 25%. Whereas the Connecticut Sun shot 9 for 22 from the 3-point line, 41%. A lot of that, like I said, was Marina Mabry. She went 6 for 11 from the 3-point line, finished with 20 points. Alyssa Thomas she went 8 for 12. Finished with 17 points. Dejanay Carrington had 13. DeWanna Bonner started the game off slow. She did play really, really poorly, but she had some big shots late. She shot just 4 for 17 from the floor, but she finished with 10 points with 2 big threes. One of them was late and was a dagger as well. This is, in my opinion, this is a game where game 1 went perfect for the Sun. This is exactly the way that they wanted to play. They played really, really slow. They defended the Lynx really, really well. I don't know if a lot of that is going to change. I just think that if you're betting on the Lynx, of course, you're betting on some regression from them being able to knock down some shots, some 3-point variance for Connecticut. Connecticut is not a 41% 3-point shooting team. Now, granted, Marina Mabry came over. She's saving her best play for last when these games really matter. But I'm not of the mindset that Marina Mabry is going to continue to shoot the ball that well. Here's the problem, though. If you go back and look at last round, remember, game 1, the Lynx really, really struggled against the three, giving up threes in that game, which is why, let's see if I can find that game real quick. Which is why the Phoenix Mercury kept that game close and ended up having a 1 point. I think they took a 1-point lead in game 1. It was Natasha Cloud who shot 4 for 8 from the 3-point line. Kalia Copper hit 2 of 5. But Diana Taurasi, 5 for 10. So for whatever reason, Minnesota has really, really struggled to take away the opposing best 3-point shooter. And I was thinking this last night, it's like, how do you keep letting Marina Mabry continue to shoot the ball and get these wide open looks? Like, you gotta be able to do something else. Here's the craziest part, is that they're not guarding Alyssa Thomas. When Alyssa Thomas gets the ball, free throw line extended, they just move out the way. They go somewhere else and they try to double and help, but somehow she still gets off 11 threes and, like I said, knocks in 6 of them last night. So you expect some regression there. Even if you go back, though, to game 2 when they were playing against the Mercury in the last series, they defended the 3-point line a lot better. 31%. Only 8 for 26 is what Phoenix shot. Diana Taurasi hit 2 of her 8. Natasha Cloud hit 2 of her 5. Kalia Copper hit 2 of her 6. Sophie Cunningham hit 1 of 4. So I guess we expect some 3-point regression here. This total did drop as well. It's all the way down to 151. It looks like it's the consensus. I do like the Lynx in the bounce back spot here. I watched the defense that Connecticut played, though, and I think that they were on to something. The way that they were defending the Minnesota Lynx, Minnesota was not getting – so I think that if you like Minnesota, of course you like them to shoot the ball a little bit better. They only ended up losing the game by 3 points yesterday, and they shot probably their worst shooting game in some time. But you're going to need more from Caleb McBride. And the thing about the Connecticut Sun – is we got to remember this was the best 3-point defense in the WNBA. This was a lot of reason why I like them in against Indiana, because Indiana likes to shoot a lot of threes. And I said Connecticut 3-point defense is holding teams, I want to say, to like 24, 23%. They were the best 3-point shooting defense. So when you give the ball to Fee, which is what they did in the mid post, on the block yesterday, they were just starting to send doubles because Alyssa Thomas couldn't guard her one-on-one. You're gonna need some of those shots to fall. Outside of Bridget Carlton, who hit 3 of her 6 threes last night, Elena Smith 0 for 4. Courtney Williams was a non-factor. She had 8 points and 4 assists, but she wasn't even knocking down the mid-range. She shot 3 of 12 from the floor. Nafisha Collier 0 for 2 from the 3-point line. She didn't shoot the ball well. Kayla McBride 1 for 5 from the 3-point line. So you're going to need the 3-point shooters to play a little bit better. Letitia Heidemann didn't do much coming up the bench. She had just 2 points in her 11 minutes. Misha Hines-Allen, I thought, played really well. She had 7 points and 6 rebounds in her 10-plus minutes. So I do like Minnesota to bounce back. I think it's just going to be some 3-point regression, but I also think the game, probably I think Connecticut will be locked in defensively. I think whatever Connecticut team total is, I probably like the under, even understanding that this is going to be a super low number. Let's see what the number is real quick. Probably like 73.5 you can get. Yeah, I think Connecticut really, really struggles to score the basketball in this game because I do think that they are a good defensive team. Like, they're going to get back. Minnesota's not going to be able to score a bunch of points in transition. I think that Connecticut was on to something with their defense. I am expecting Minnesota to bounce back in this game, to be honest with you guys. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but it's Minnesota or nothing for me. I don't think that they're going to lose both games on the road. Connecticut has given them problems all season, though. All season long, Connecticut has given them problems. I think they've beaten them, 3 out of the 4 games that they've played, or I think it's 3 out of the 4 games that they played. And they've also played them really, really well in Minnesota for whatever reason. Just look at that real quick. So they played 4 times. The Lynx have only won 1. The games are 3-1 to the under. The only game that went over was 3-1 to the over. Only game that went under was the game last night. So you expect more points in this spot? Maybe a Lynx team total to go over. It's only 77.5. They managed 70 points last night with only shooting what did I say? Less than 30% from the 3-point line. I like the Lynx in the bounce back spot here. I really, really do. Just haven't bet it yet. Let's see what you guys are thinking before we jump into a quick recap and get off of here. All right, well, I appreciate you for tapping in. He says, thanks for the show, Chris. Mark says, Sun have been shooting the 3 much better. Last 4 to 5 games, they have. But you also got the Fever defense. And the Fever, one of the worst 3-point shooting defenses in the league, Mark. So while what you're saying is true, you just expect the Lynx. You can't go down 0-2, right? Not at the crib. Then the series, I think, really is over. Even though Minnesota had actually been the best home team in the WNBA. Remember, I talked about that yesterday as well. They finished better than the Liberty did. Ball Talk says that Connecticut Sun 3-point defense is the difference. Alyssa Thomas doing a good job guarding Fee. Mabry the best guard on the court. Lynx are in trouble. And I think all of this is true. I do think all this is true. Quincy says Minnesota first quarter, they get right early. Ball Talk says Kayla McBride and Bridget Carlton can't even get a good shot off. No bag. Been saying this all year. Yeah, that Sun defense is stifling for sure. Yeah, definitely stifling. Mark says unrelated, but Collier is beautiful. Collier is, boy, this ain't the time for that, but I love Fee. I love Fee for sure. Definitely in agreement with Ball Talk and Mark here. Livestone says he got the Lynx to win the chip at plus 2,000, so he hopes they win. Yeah, you're gonna need them to win. Yeah, boy. All right, let's get into a quick recap. I have a standalone video out tonight for these games tomorrow as well. So definitely check those out. It'll be a lot of what we talked about today, but I'll deep dive them a little bit more. I'm actually gonna watch them too, and then have some plays for the games for tomorrow. So yeah, what I played today though, these are plays that I have not played yet, but I will be putting in. I love the Kenneth Walker one. I am going to take Tennessee plus the 2.5. And I'm also going to ride with that under, man. I think that trend that GLB pulled out that they showed us that I kind of maneuvered a little bit was 16-5-1 to the under when it's a home favorite playing against coming off a win in their previous game, facing an opponent coming off their previous win, and they're undefeated. So I like that look a lot. I think, Seattle's offense is definitely going to struggle to score, in my opinion. So yeah, I like that look a lot. That's the only thing that I would probably add for tonight's games. What up, Ken? Appreciate you for tapping in. He says, been a minute, but I'm back. Got Tennessee team total first half. Tennessee over their team total in the first half at 7.5. Seahawks team total under 22.5. Let's cash it. I like that. I like that a lot. That team total for Seahawks could be the look for sure. I like that a lot, Kenneth. Brian says Tennessee plus 2.5, Seattle plus 4. Good night, Chris. We'll see how it goes. GLB, appreciate you for tapping in as always. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. That's going to be the show for today. As always, I like to share the resources that I use to handicap the games. They're all listed here. Throw code CBC will get you 20% off of Odds Jam. I use the Sportsbook screen page for all the live odds, so I get the best number as the numbers are kind of moving. And then Moneyballer on here as well, 50% off using code ChrisBeCappinn. 2 P's and 2 N's. Just always the same resources that I use to handicap the games as always, man. That'll be the show. Do me a favor, hit that like button for me on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Like and share the video. It's helpful for the algorithm as well. Link for all my official bets is in the description of the video, as it always is. Best of luck on all your action. Bet responsibly. Catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.